Rated M for mature.
If you're anything like me, you really enjoy a late night gaming session. Everybody's gone to bed. The world is not bothering you. You just want to sit down. You want to veg out. You want to play your games. You like to have a nice snack or a drink while you're having that late night gaming session. So from now on, I'm going to be bringing you guys a show called Gamer Fuel, where I teach you different snacks and drinks to make for when you're gaming late at night. Today on Gamer Fuel, I'm going to show you how to make Southern sweet tea, baby. Now, when I say Southern sweet tea, a lot of people think about the jars of tea bags in the water sitting out in the sun all day. That's not what we're going to do. We're making that same taste, but we're going to do it in a much quicker and bulk way. This is like Sam's Club warehouse type stuff. Anyway, what I'm going to do is show you the ingredients you need to make it and the stuff that helps you make it in an easier fashion. First up, you're going to need your tea. In this case, I'm just using some good old-fashioned tea. If you're one of those weirdo fucking hippies, you can use a green tea. But since we're making good old-fashioned red-blooded American Southern sweet tea, we're using regular old black tea. So all you guys looking to sip on some green tea or chamomile while you're reading your self-help book and kick rocks, because this ain't your fucking sweet tea. Next thing you're gonna need is water, obviously. So how much water should we be using for this recipe? We're gonna use 4 of these bottles, 1.5 liters, so 6 liters of water. Or if you're a willfully dumbass American who still is using only the imperial system, 1.5 gallons. Now, normally I would just use tap water because I'm not some careless asshole who enjoys destroying the environment, especially the ocean, with disgusting plastic bottles. But because my source of water is a big tank outside that anybody has access to and sometimes gets dirt in it, I'm not using tap water today. We're going to be using 14 tea bags. Why 14? Because it just steeps a lot quicker. It'll get darker and be stronger in a lot less time than it would be if you did, say, 6 tea bags. You could ultimately use 6 tea bags if you have the patience to let it steep all day, but since we want to get this done in about 20 or 30 minutes, we're going to use 14. The next ingredient is baking soda. It really doesn't matter what kind of baking soda you're using. Any kind of baking soda, it's just white powder, brand doesn't matter. So good news for all you Coke dealers out there, you can now use baking soda for something else other than cutting your product. Next up is the all-important ingredient, sugar, baby. Now I know what you're thinking, Geeky, why am I using all these baking ingredients to make sweet tea? Well, sugar makes it sweet, and the baking soda takes out the bitterness of the tea. So you got the ingredients, but now you need the hardware to actually make the tea. Now when it comes to hardware, you can use whatever you want. I'm using a spoon, obviously, to stir up the ingredients. And yes, I'm using a measuring cup this time because measurements actually matter for this recipe. I'm using this big old pot to actually make the tea in. And the last thing you're going to need is a container to put your tea in. So if you're making this much tea, you're going to need those 4.5 liter jugs, or you're going to need 2-gallon jugs. And of course, to get the tea back into said jugs when you finish preparing it, it's easiest to use a funnel. Now the next thing you're going to want to do is prep your area. Now ideally you want the entire countertop to be empty, so all you have to worry about is your stuff that you're using to make the tea. In my case, I can't do that because my woman likes to keep everything out in the open where it's easy to access, even if it makes the house look like Sanford & Son's junkyard. She's basically Jake from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Here are 2 pictures. One is your locker, the other is a garbage dump in the Philippines. Can you tell which is which?
So you're going to want to take your water and put 3 cups of water into your measuring cup. You shouldn't have the water chilling all night already. That way you can drink it as soon as you're done brewing. Then you're going to want to get your water. Then you're going to want to get your water, put it in your boiling container. In this case, I have one of these electric boilers, which makes it a lot quicker. Go ahead and boil, baby. Then you want to put your sugar into your measuring cup. Now you can use 1 to 2 cups of sugar depending on how soon you want to die of diabetes. I'm going to use 1.5 cups, so I make it to about age 60. And make sure you're using sugar, not some hippy dippy stevia bullshit or your sweeteners or whatever. Sugar. All right, so my water is nice and boiled. I'm going to go ahead and pour that in with the sugar. You're going to see it get all foggy in that, but fill it all the way up, and then you're going to take your spoon. You just keep stirring the sugar up until it melts. So as you can see, the sugar has dissolved, and I now have about 4.5 cups of sugar water. Add your tea. Pro tip, make sure you twist them all up so they go in like this. Boom. Remember, we're using 14 so that we can get this done pretty quick. To get them in there, tea bag them like you're playing Call of Duty. and just let them steep. And then once in a while, you're gonna take, go like this, let them get out, dip them again, teabag them. Just let them sit in there for about 20-30 minutes. I'd say 30 minutes should be about right. Now, I know some of you are saying, oh man, I gotta wait a half hour for the tea to steep. It's not that long, man. You can go ahead and you can play some phone games like Legends of Runeterra or whatever. You can go on YouTube and get caught up on your favorite creators' videos. Or you can do like I do oftentimes and read a book. Yes, some people still read books. Now you can let the tea bags just sit in there for a half hour if you want, or you can do like I do, and every 5 minutes or so dunk them. Either way, you want the tea to get to a certain point, basically the way that I like my women, dark and a little bit bitter. Again, you want to grab your tea bags, give them a few dunks. Again, we're just letting it steep for about a half hour because we have 14 tea bags in there. We're not going to do like the old school way, 6 bags and let it sit all day because nobody's got time for that shit. But speaking of time, let's check out today's sponsor, the newest, hottest mobile game, Mobile Legends. I'm just fucking with you. Nobody watches the show, so I can't get sponsors. Alright, so the tea's ready. I'm gonna go ahead and dump it into... It's really hard to film and do this stuff, but anyway. Get that in there. One thing I like to do before I get rid of the tea bags is give them a big squeeze. You got to be careful because you can break them open and then you get grounds in there. But if you do that, you're going to get a lot more flavor in your tea and you're not wasting these bags. Then we're going to dump our baking soda in. Make sure you get it all up in there good. Remember, the reason we're using the baking soda is to take that bitter aftertaste that you get with tea out of there. So it's just a nice, smooth, sweet tea taste. All right, now that your tea is ready, you're going to add the water. Now, if your container's not big enough to hold all the water, that's okay. I'll show you a trick that I use. Obviously, you want to give it another stir, mix up all the water and the tea together. Then you're going to get your funnel and put it into your first container. Use your measuring cup and just get a bunch of tea in there. And then you're going to dump it into your thing. Now you only want to fill the bottles about 3/4 of the way because if not, they might be a little too sweet. But if you like it really sweet, then you can do it all the way. But the reason I'm doing it this way is so that I can manage that last bottle of water with the containers. And again, just dump in till you get to about 3/4 of the way. Now it's fine for me to dump this stuff in there to these bottles because it's not boiling water, so it's not going to break down the structure of the bottle. Now you see there's tea all over the counter. Normally this would be a lot easier and a lot less messy. Usually there's no mess at all, but because I'm trying to film while I'm dumping, yeah, it's pretty messy. So now we're going to take this 4th bottle of water and fill in those last bits. So now you see this bottle's down to 1/4, and then we have this, we add that to that, and then we have 4 equal bottles. So that's how we dealt with the container not being big enough. So now you're going to evenly distribute the rest of that tea into the tops of these 4 bottles. Now that that's done, you're going to put the tops on each of them. And there you have it, 4 bottles of sweet tea, 6 liters or 1.5 gallons, ready to serve. So there you have it, my recipe for Southern sweet tea. Now you know why when you go to the South, you see all of those dudes who look like they're pregnant, including myself. It's this stuff, well, this and probably Bud Light, but I digress. If you enjoyed this first episode of Gamer Fuel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will do some more for you in the future with some snacks. Oh, and if you made the recipe, let me know what you thought of it in the comment section below. Spoiler alert, I already know you're gonna tell me it's fucking awesome.